The Man of the Year's Award, Duchesne High School, St. Charles, Missouri, October 30th, 1966.
It's particularly fun to see who's named in this book. Ralph, will you bring the man that we're looking for up here, please? Well, until you find him. While you're looking, I want to read part of this evening's program. There's a note on the end of this program that says the Chamber of Commerce and the Man of the Year's Committee assumes no responsibility for what happens from this point on. Is the tape on, Arvel?
You said you wanted 5 minutes rest.
I do. Thorley Alderson, it gives me a great deal of personal pride and pleasure to offer you this plaque. I want to read it. Man of the Year's 1966. Thorley Alderson, in recognition of many years of untiring, devoted service to the community of St. Charles, Missouri. St. Charles Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you.
All right.
That way you want to hold it?
Yeah, make sure they can read it. You want to hold it, or you want me to pick it up here? All right. Look at you. Sit down, Thorley. Sit down. You don't have much to do now. Thorley, you have earned this distinction many times over by your numerous civic accomplishments and by the remarkably efficient manner in which you have achieved your objective. You have earned this honor in a shorter period of time than any of your predecessors, and you would probably have been named Man of the Years before now, except that one of the very definite requisites for this award is that the recipient must have lived in St. Charles for at least 20 years. Your 20 years of servitude are up this year. In fact, they're up this month. So it's evident that your activities have made such an indelible impression on your fellow citizens that they could barely wait for you to complete this time requirement. Now, one other necessary requirement, is that too loud? One other necessary requirement to receiving this award is that the honoree must have been born. And your reputation for doing things correctly and putting first things first is substantiated by the fact that this is the first thing you did. You were born on February 12, 1908, in St. Louis, Missouri, to Mr. and Mrs. Otis Alderson. Your family subsequently moved to Bellflower, Missouri, where you attended elementary school. Later, after the family had moved back to St. Louis, you attended Rittner High School and Washington University. You and your father, who is familiarly known to so many people as Pop, started a service car line in 1927. You remember that? As if this was to be an indication of your future, the company prospered and developed into the St. Louis County Transit Company in 1929. This company was absorbed by the Red Line Bus Company, which later merged with the Bi-State Bus Company. You and your dad were very close, and you were very saddened by his death in October of 1954. Your mother, who is 81 years old now, still lives in Overland, Missouri, and she is here to enjoy these moments with you this evening. Frank, will you bring Ms. Alderson in, please? Ralph, not Frank. This is the first time in, I think it's 9 programs of this, where either parent of the Man of the Years has been present. During the early years of the service car company operations which you and Pop started, there were times when the speedometer readings far exceeded the normal route mileage for given periods, we've been given to understand. We haven't learned who discovered the cause of such discrepancy, but it did become known that a certain winsome high school lass by the name of Ruby Jenkins was responsible. The excess mileage and the gas bills returned to normal after September 27, 1931, when you and Ruby were married at the Raider Methodist Church in Vienna, Missouri. Ruby, will you come up, please? That's your problem. This always takes a long time. Thorley, we have here a picture of you and your bride taken on your wedding day. And I know of only one other picture in which one of the characters looks as much like a gangster of the Capone era as you do. That picture's at my house, locked up. We had an enlargement made of this. I'm going to hold it up, and I want you to see what you think about it. We know that you were not in the gangster class and never got a chance to handle some of the gangsters' favorite weapons, such as the Tommy gun. But since there was such a marked resemblance, we want to fit you right into the right atmosphere with this latest model. We have it here. You and Ruby were at your home to your many friends at 10032 Driver Street in Overland, where you lived until your decision to move to St. Charles. On March 15, 1938, your family number increased to 3 with the addition of an adopted daughter whom you named Gail. Gail became Mrs. Bob Jacobs on April 30, 1958, and on June 24, 1959, you became a grandfather when Vicki was born. And again on October 27, 1962, when a cluster was born to Gail and Bob. These twins, Richard and Robin, are here tonight with their sister Vicki and their parents, and they all want to visit with you now. Bob and Gail, you bring the kids along with you? That looks like... Now, Thorley, your sister Ruth, with whom you always had a very close bond, is also here tonight. With her is her husband, Bus Shagman, and they've come in from Estes Park, Colorado, to help you celebrate this occasion. Bus and Ruth, will you come in, please? That you weren't thinking about anything else when your pipe slipped out of your pocket. It's our understanding that at that particular time you kept right on fishing and said, "Ruby, go get my pipe," and Ruby waded out in the lake to get your pipe. There are also some pretty well substantiated stories of some troubles you have occasionally with your dental bridge. It has been recounted that on one occasion you found your bridge hanging on the ear of Taffy, your dog. On another, you found it hanging on the fringe of the van. The big occasion when you were in a restaurant in Denver, when after missing the bridge and much searching around, it was eventually found in a garbage can. Thirdly, we are unable to give you any help in the mysterious matter of the missing teeth. And we don't know how to overcome your lack of chivalry in making ladies wait after your dropped pipes. But maybe we can help this situation by providing you with the materials for an extra pipe. We have one here for you now. Nice new pipe. With the coming of World War II also came your decision to become part of the armed forces, and you enlisted in the Army on March 30th, 1943. You didn't know what was going on in your hometown. You didn't know what was going on in your home. After you'd been in England for some time, Ruby opened a letter for you from your draft board, in which you were ordered to appear for examination and induction. Ruby thereupon wrote the draft board informing it that you were already in the service and serving at that time in England. Thereafter, she opened 2 more letters from the board, which she ignored. Subsequently, she was visited by the FBI, inquiring as to your whereabouts. You went to Europe as a second lieutenant and served with distinction in England and France. where you were awarded the Bronze Star and Victory Medal. Now, Ruby didn't know anything about this. So I don't know how I got this. You attained the rank of captain, and your discharge was effective as of March 14, 1946. I have them here, your discharge papers here too, Thorley. We also have here a picture of you in your uniform, and we have concluded that there was pretty good reason for Ruby's heart palpitations when she spoke of you. This is big enough to see too. In 1946, you terminated your association with the St. Louis County Bus Lines and bought the Terminal Cab Company in St. Charles in March of that year. A short time later, you also purchased the restaurant in the terminal building. The Terminal Cab Company eventually became the St. Charles Transit Company, and you have developed the taxicab and school bus business to a point where it is a model of service and efficiency. An operation of such magnitude over a period of 20 years naturally entails the purchase of extensive equipment. We have no idea how many yellow cabs you have bought and put into service in St. Charles. We do know that it is your policy to purchase these cabs as a fleet rather than as individual units. But Ralph wanted to get you something, so he figured that you wouldn't have any objection to receiving a new yellow cab as a gift. We hope that you won't crash with this new model, which is now my pleasure to unveil. And I mean unveil. You're welcome, honey. Recitation of your civic activities and achievements reads like the record of a professional promoter, and began long before you came to St. Charles, when, among other things that you did, you served as a president of the Lions Club of Overland. One of your first civic chores after coming to St. Charles was service to the lay committee of St. Joseph's Hospital. Later, you were again to assist St. Joseph's by being part of the Expansion Fund Committee, which resulted in the new wing of the hospital at 2nd and 1st Capitol Drive. The United Fund also had the advantage of your ability and your charitable attitude when you served that organization in various capacities, including that of chairman. In 1950, you were elected president of the Chamber of Commerce. As you took office, you found the Chamber confronted with a busted treasury. Your prompt and direct action in this crisis corrected the situation and, in all probability, saved the Chamber of Commerce for St. Charles. The Chamber of Commerce permits a director to serve only 2 consecutive 2-year terms, after which the director must retire from the board for at least a year. You have served these 4-year periods a number of times and have always been returned to directorship when eligible and nominated. Your service as a director at the present time not only attests to the esteem in which you are held by the membership, but also serves to assist the newer directors who have lesser experience. Every important chamber committee has, at one time or another, benefited by your participation. Activities of the Boy Scouts of America have found your helping hand throughout the years, and at the present time you are a member of the local Boy Scout sponsor committee. 1957 found you as president of the Rotary Club of St. Charles, and with your record of accomplishment in other fields, it is more than likely that Rotary records would reveal that 1957 was an outstanding year. In In 1958, you served as a member of the steering committee for the $222,000 bond issue to provide the Busher Creek sanitary sewer outfall line and oxidation basin. In April of 1959, you were appointed to the City Traffic Committee, and you are still active as one of its members. Few of us realize the time and effort which you give to the consideration of our local traffic problems. In 1959, you also became a director of the newly formed Industrial Development Corporation, dedicated to providing additional jobs, income, and buying power, but of even more importance, the broadening of the tax base for our community. You were active in the original and all subsequent drives of the Industrial Development Corporation, and the success of the corporation in locating or assisting industry in this area is attributable to the cooperation of you and men like you. You were also a part of the steering committee, which developed the information pertinent to the city limits extension in 1960. The needs of a growing community were reflected in the presentation of a bond issue proposal in 1962 for $2,750,000 for the Missouri River sanitary sewage disposal. Again, you were a part of the committee which helped to advance and approve this important issue, which has permitted us to keep pace with our rapid expansion. Your most recent appointment was on September 20, 1966, when you became a part of the newly formed Governmental Study Committee, a very important and vital post. These, Thorley, are some of your accomplishments in the interest of your community and of your fellow citizens. We know that there are many more we have not touched upon completely this evening, but we do want you to know that we realize that whenever a job needs to be done, a busy man usually has to be called upon to do it. We've called upon you in the past, and we'll probably call on you in the future. We are grateful for the dedication from which we have benefited and are pleased to have had the opportunity to acclaim you Man of the Years. As a token of our appreciation for your efforts, we want to present you with this Polaroid camera, which we hope will give you a lot of pleasure in the years ahead. That's so new that it hurts. That's the new model just out. Also, Thorley, so that you know that we really do mean these things that we have said about you. When I get through with the parts that I've put into these sheets here, which have to be retyped, we'll present you with this book. Now, this is the end of this part of the program. We have decided on a little change. We're going to ask Thorley and Ruby to, the steps are gone, jump down off of here so that these people won't have to come up through these doors. And if you will stand down there, now just a minute, you all won't have to come up through the steps and go down through these side doors. But we have some people here, if you all don't mind, that we would like to have come up before you all do. Would you go down, please? I guess you have to go down here, Thorley and Ruby. Yeah, just stand down here in front. You know, the reason of this departure from the usual is that There are some people here tonight that have been down at the terminal longer than Thorley and Ruby have been, and we'd like to ask them to start the line first. Billy Wilson, Raymond Dick Rader, not Dick Herber, and Gus Bamer. We also have there Ruby's two sisters and their husbands, Mr. and Ms. Joe Harrison and Mr. and Mrs. Fred Caston. We have a nephew, Wally, and his wife, Kathy Shagaman. And a couple of old friends from the early days, Mr. and Ms. Bob Wright. Have I missed anyone over there? Who? And an old friend, Martha Stubley. Martha, I didn't know you were here. In fact, I don't know you. Now I do. And Thorley, we'll get this book to you, and God bless you. Now everyone is at liberty to come up and congratulate you.